Hello and welcome to another Tower of God video. I can say that now. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So today we're going to be talking about SSR pluses and why SSR pluses are useful at this state of the game and why you should be going for it in general, right? And how to generally know how good SSRs are and like which ones are the best ones to pick and all that, right? Either way, but before we can even get started on that, there's something that you guys need to get on your head. It's like the basis of all SSRs and everything in between, right? That SSRs are not the default unit in the banner that you're searching for. Okay, when the game first started, everybody said that SSRs, the new SSRs, was just SSRs, and now they transitioned into SSR pluses every 2 weeks, right? And with the revolutionary system, being that the nodes goes up to 10, the SSRs don't have as much stats as the SSR pluses, and the SSRs are no longer the default default for the for units for you to get, right? What that means is they don't have as good stats, and they aren't as, usually there are some exceptions of course, they aren't as like strong as SSR pluses in the game now. So when it comes to looking for SSRs, you should look at what SSRs are useful and not what SSRs does the most damage, right? So at the beginning of the game, you can get away with playing hats. You can get away with playing even to this day, Eon is really useful, and even White used to be the carry. White and Eon, Ihwa used to be like the two best carries in the game, and with revolutionary system in place, only being up to 10, and the SSR plus going to 20, they have decreased in value, right? You kind of want to aim for an SSR plus, and I could talk about SSR pluses and the differences between them and SSRs for a whole separate video, but today we'll just be talking about SSRs that you should really be going for and what SSR you should be like. What is good in a unit, right? What is good for an SSR plus? SSR. So the thing you need to look for SSRs isn't damage and stats anymore, right? So basically, because of the revolutionary system only goes to 10 instead of 20, you need to aim for characters that basically tanks and damage dealing units have lowered in value. Even assassins to a degree as well too, because the more stats they have, the more damage they're going to do. For example, if you look at a Ihwa, right? She's a mage, she has a good revolutionary system. And look at that, swiftness is really good, critical rate, attack goes to 10, right? So if you look at preview, 31%, right? That's fantastic. Now if we look at I guess it's not her because I don't have her deep out. Let's say we look at at Ivan Kel, right? And we look at the revolution over here. 31 was 10, right? 31 was 10. 20 goes up to 120% in the difference between level 10 and level 20. Okay, it's insane. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is characters that involve their stats are physical stats are valued less. So what you're really looking for, you're looking for characters that bring utility or bring status effects or makes it easier for your damage dealing units or your stat based units like tanks to perform better, right? In this game, if I could tell you the value of each role, I think support is the most important role in the game, and SSRs shine a lot when it comes to support. I mean, obviously you have your broken Traumeré and you have your broken, well, he's not broken, he's very good, but he's not broken. You have your broken Albelda, and you have your broken Summer Ihwa somewhere over top, somewhere under here, yeah, here, and you have your amazingly borderline broken Garam here. But what you're really aiming for is support. Each element has a support, unless if you're blue. Actually, no, not blue. Is it blue? Green. Now, green has a pretty mediocre support. But if you look at the supports, that's the first thing you need to look for. Okay. Actually, no. Before we get to support, let's get out of the way. You need Anak. You need Anak. She's in my tier list that I made for Tower of God and best 2024 units. Grime is second place, not because she's the most broken, but she's free to pull. She's an SSR, so you can get her a lot easier if you just summon on her consistently than an SSR plus for one, because you get more summoning tickets, resources. She's really good. She is the best tank. She makes units better. She makes units that can't survive. And you basically have 2 tanks in your team. Anak and the damage dealing. Anak is just broken. Get her, okay? I mean, most people do have Princess Anak. This one over there. But if no one told you to get her, I'm gonna tell you right now, get her. Please get her. Like, you need her on your team. You pair up with your damage dealing unit. Carries, okay? But either way, back to support. Back to support. You want to look for units that bring utility to the team. So support is one of the best ways to do that. So for example, for white, yellow has a lot of support units. So bomb is amazing. He's so good because he gives energy. He kind of like locks people, and he stuns people. So a bomb is amazing. A bomb is like one of the best support units in the game. And if you don't use a bomb, you're crazy. Then we have Shinsu, Shibisu, Lisu. Well, either way, Shibisu. Shibisu is really good because he increases resistances. The only thing about also his passive increases attack. He's one of those basic OGs that increases attack at the start of battlefield units, which is actually very useful because you want to do as much damage as possible, obviously. He also increases resistances. The only thing about Shibisu that I don't really like that much is that he's a close range support unit, meaning he'll like run to like the enemy, and then sometimes Shibisu will just like die, just automatically, like instantly die, and it's like there's nothing you can do about that. And for the for purple, yeah, you have Uro, which is one of the best supports in the game because they will give you your damage dealing unit or any unit a free survive pass. They also support a lot, and they give energy. I think they heal too. No, I'm not sure if they heal, but they're really strong. Yeah, they're really strong. And then same thing with Kun. Like the where is he? There we go. The regular Kun, he does the attack thing he was OG. He's an OG unit, so he does the attack thing, and his passive, like Shibisu or Lisu, however you want to call him. But he also like removes someone from the field, making it a 4v5 if he doesn't die quickly. And he also, I think he stuns on his ult. No, yeah, he paralyzes on his ult, which is really good. So Kun is actually a really slept on. He's like, okay, Kun is a very strong unit. Okay, so that's that. And then for the red, you have CXC. CXC is really because he brings energy, heals, shields, great unit. The unit kind of sucks. Okay, they're forgettable. They just heal and shield. But in all honesty, you should probably get someone like CXC instead because she just supports better. If you have number 3, they're pretty good because they distract the enemy, but they're a collab unit. So if you don't have them, I don't know what to tell you. But if you do have them, they're a pretty good unit to have on your team. Yeah, Huarian used to be really good at first because she was like a damage dealing support. But she's a support unit that goes close to the enemy, so she dies very quickly. That's the thing about her. But she increases crit. She does shields too, and she increases swift. Is it swiftness? I think she does increase swiftness. I might be tripping. Yeah, swiftness. Yeah, she's increased swiftness. So she's a really good unit. She just dies a lot in higher floors because she's a close range support unit, and support units don't really have high stats or like high tanking abilities, right? Because they're support units. And then for blue, you have Blanc is so good. Oh my god, Blanc is so good. Blanc is the GOAT. They heal, they increase attacking defense, and they heal really well too. And they also help this help survivability against green units too, which is really good. I'm not sure if they don't do more damage to green or green does less damage to them, but either way, they're really good against greens, which is really good because green is strong against blue. So. And she's the only unit that does this too, so she's a very good unit. Libera is slept on. I wouldn't call him like amazingly broken, but he is very good. He's the typical, OG unit, so buff attack on his passive. But he decreases swiftness, which is really good. And yes, he's pretty good with that. He does a lot of swiftness stuff, which is really good. And then for wow. For green doesn't really have good support. Like, she's okay. She heals and she does the whole like OG unit, so there we go. She heals and I guess she can stun. She's okay. I wouldn't call her like amazing, but she does a job. She does okay. Like green doesn't. I mean, I guess he's good too, but he's a close range support unit, and he increases a magic priest, I think. Yeah, magic priest. So there's that too. He's pretty good on the group, but you can get away with him because normally you'll pair him up with Soma Yihua, and Soma Yihua grants invincibility. So even if it is a close range unit, Leroy won't die as quick. Kid Leroy won't die as quickly as possible. And now that you got the supports out of the way, right? There are some units that are tanks that are kind of good, or like exceptions to the rule, right? So for example, Endorsis is a pretty decent tank for green, and she kind of breaks the rule. This guy is really good for bossing. So if you want a good bossing unit, Novik is a really good one. But and then another exception to the rule would be Anak is a tank. I know I talked about tank having low stats, but Anak is a different beast. Anak is amazing. And then this guy is pretty good too for a tank for purple, because purple doesn't really have good tanks apart from Karaka, and he's SSR plus. And investing in an SSR plus tank is a luxury thing, you know. And then see this guy too. He's an okay tank, like yellow. He's okay. He's like fine, right? So then, even though like tanks lose value in SSRs compared to SSR pluses, the one thing about tanks is that like you should not be rainbowing your tank in SSR plus unless if like you have maxed out like your damage dealing units and you want to spend your black market tickets. I guess you can do that, but then, for example, okay, and also a lot of the times, a lot of elements can like survive, right? Karaka is really good at low. He's like decent in low dupes. Obviously, he's a lot better with higher dupes, but even with low dupes, he's okay because he's invincible after he reaches a certain amount of damage, or he resurrects himself, whatever that is. Also, Mashini doesn't really need dupes either, so that's two elements you don't really need a tank for. You can have Asensio. He also doesn't really need dupes. Well, he needs dupes to as long as he ults, doesn't need dupes. that's what it is. As long as he ults, he doesn't need dupes, right? So Yellow doesn't have a tank, but you look at these and like also Zahar is also a pretty decent tank, and he doesn't need that many dupes invested in him either. So but if you want to look for tanks, those will be the tanks for the elements that I would suggest. So once you've got Anak, you got the supports, and you have a few tanks in your list, and you don't even have to go. You don't have to go for tanks. If you don't want to go for tanks, the next thing, like I think they're just as valuable as tanks. Honestly, are getting units that does unique things or does niche things, right? Or like units that are like kind of useful, right? So things that you need to look for when it comes to Tower of God units, SSR pluses, or SSRs in general, or just units in general that are kind of useful. Swiftness. Swiftness is so important. Swiftness is the most, apart from like attack damage and like all those damage dealing like util, stuns and swiftness are like one of the most important status effects in the game, because the higher swiftness you have, the quicker you can do things, the more damage you will do because you're doing things more quickly. The quicker you can get to your ult, and your ult is basically your bread and butter in all of these characters, bro. You want your ult. Basically, every single one of these characters, you ult first, far quicker than the enemy team. You're in a good spot, right? So that's why swiftness is so good. And so like you getting more swiftness is really good, and the opponent losing swiftness is also really good, because then it stops the enemy from doing things as quickly. So for example, Data Uric or Durik will come up and will ult you with his little zigzag thing, and then he'll one shot your entire team, right? But if you have a slower swiftness, it will take more time for him to do that, and maybe theoretically you might be able to kill him before he ults, winning you the round, right? So swiftness is really important. And then another thing that's important is obviously like physical and magical resistance, because physical and magical resistance just work really well. This tank's better than just pure defense, right? So that's one thing. That's why people tell you to always invest in Tri-Essence, and when you go to Tri-Essence, they want you to go for resistances, because it just tanks a lot better than defense. That's just the way that the math works in this game. And also stuns are really good, obviously, because then they can't do anything with you, or like paralyzes, or like locks are really good. Silence is also really good, because silence is stops the enemy from using any skills. Obviously, it's not as good as stuns, but it's still very, very, very strong. And what's another good one? So yeah, this is what I think there's one more that I'm forgetting. Yeah, I guess, and yeah, energy increase. But that's more of a support thing, right? So those are the themes that you'll notice for the characters I'm about to say right now, because those are what like you need, right? So if you look good down, I'm gonna go down from all the way up, right? For example, Indos is good because she's very niche. If you don't have a very strong green team, and Killing Dorsey is good because she does a lot of damage when she dies, and she also like doesn't die easily because she becomes invincible and then she heals again, right? So Dorsey is really good like that. She's kind of like a mage assassin type of character. I think this character is really good. I forgot what they do. Yeah, no, they're like a mini Rem. Like Rem is like the SSR plus, like the mini Rem. They're pretty good. They paralyze. No, mini Kaiser. Sorry, so they're like a mini Kaiser. They paralyze. They're a damage dealing unit. I don't really recommend damage dealing units, but if you need one for this, these two are pretty good. This guy's good for bossing, very good for bossing with his skills because he has a little hook. And yeah, look at this. See, it's good, right? And then yeah, look at that. He pulls him towards. Increase. I think those. Yeah, he reduces that swiftness is what's really, really strong, right? Themes, right? This guy reduced to swiftness, which is why he's really good too. He's good for bossing. These guys you can ignore. By ignore I mean like the Ran and Escanor, Meliodas. Sorry. I already mentioned these supports like the CXCL. This guy just fell off so yo. This is, oh my god, bro. I made this. Oh, this is so embarrassing. This is such an old unit. This is when he just fell off so quickly. I just couldn't be bothered to change his equipment. But Vincent used to be really good, and then they just like released Jin Sung, and Jin Sung is just such a better unit. But back in the day, he used to be like the jack of all trades, you know. But like, see, this is what you don't care for, right? Like decreases the evasiveness and effect resistance. It's not good, right? Like, it's, you know, evasiveness is really good, but like at some, like, who cares, right? And then same with effective resistance. Effective resistance just stops you from getting stunned and get from all of that. So I mean, I guess effective resistance can be better on the higher floors, but Vincent has such low stats and they're better characters that there's no reason for you to get him. This character is not a damage dealing unit, but this character is kind of good because they increase physical pierce and they stun. But the problem with this unit is that they're very squishy because they'll hit the enemy will one tap them and then it's done. But if the enemy doesn't one tap them and they're still alive, they do pretty good stuff. With them, this unit does some pretty good stuff because they increase physical pierce and it has a little staff that bounces everywhere. This character is a really good unit. It's a very slept on unit. This character is good for bossing because look at this. I want you to read this. Okay, Naira Senwu deals 20 damage for attack dealt to the enemy who has much damage. They steal 200 of the enemy and locks them. Okay, that's so good. And you also recover energy to the highest damage dealing unit, which is really strong. So, and defense too. So they're very good. So like they'll come up, they buff your damage dealing unit and they nerf the enemy team. So this character is very, very strong, and especially in a dark team. This character is so slept on, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, people know that she's good, but like, you know, this character I was not a fan at first, but I really like this character. Look at that. The stack, they increase physical pierce and reduce that and decrease damage down by 80%. So that they're very hard to kill. And making it hard to kill makes it easy for you to use their ult, and their ult is pretty good. Okay, and then it goes here, deals damage, send them airborne, and yeah, it's very good. And they also decreases their physical resistance too. So you want to have a physical damage dealing, which works really well because if you look at White, where is he? Where is White? Actually, not White. Is it White? Yeah, no. Is it Haquin? He's physical, yeah. So you just combo those together. And then they just do a lot of shit. They just do a lot of damage. And even without the physical pierce, he does a lot for the team. So I think he does. What does that thing do again? Yeah, increases evasiveness, whatever. And then still their magical and physical resistances just makes him tankier. So he's a kind of like a pseudo tank, and he also increases physical praise with ult. So that's very, very good. So he low-key has helped a lot. I already mentioned Mad Dog Varagav. He's very good too. If you need a damage dealing unit for purple and you don't have white, I guess Vivi, Anna and White and Hackman. Basically the white-haired people and Vivi are very good for that. But if I were you, I would just save up. I would just grind up for white and then just call it a day, you know. If you want damage for compressed rack is very, very strong. He kind of falls off later as you go along the tower, but his survivability, his relevancy stays for a long time because he has a lot of crit built into his kit, and he also has crit damage increase, so he does a lot of damage for an SSR. Like I think he does one of the most, or probably the most amount of damage for an SSR. And then so like also this Kun is also really good, but he was from tower. You can't get him anymore unless if they decide to bring him back. Same with this Anak. This Anak is very, very strong. I could rainbow her, and I will rainbow her, but I want to use my tickets on her before I use it, so I can use the rest of my resources on resources. You know what I mean? Okay, this is what I mean. Okay, let me chill. Let me show y'all what I mean. Okay, so to get characters like Anak and Kun, you have to go through the data tower. I don't know when they're gonna do reruns for all the characters, but I could technically do this, right? I just like finish this because I have, and I just like refresh it, you know, and get my 3 copies. But also, I'm kind of fiending on on this. I'm fiending on this, bro. So I want to see if I can rainbow her before and then I'll just use the rest of my resources on Shinsu. Anyways, she's very good too. She decreases swiftness, and I think she steals energy. She's very good. The data tower units, honestly, I think that's why they're gonna go with the SSRs as the meta. But they're very, very good. Like most of those SSRs, the 2 for 2 right now is what I'm trying to say. They're 2 for 2 for good units. So I'm looking, and also, I forgot to say about this unit. This unit's really good because she increases crit, and I think it's swiftness too. I think it's swiftness. I'm not sure. Okay, crit rate, and then wait, am I tripping? Oh, it's the lock. They lock. That's what it was. The lock. Sorry, but yeah, they're very good. So so just to summarize, before I end the video, so you want to have SSR units that support. You want support, and if you don't have support, you want units to SSR plus units that you want SSR to do different things, right? And yeah, I'm sure I missed some other units. Like I'm sure someone's gonna say, oh, Anna is really good. Anna is very good. Or they're gonna say, oh, and Dorsey carried me. Or don't forget about CX. She was very good, but you know, things like that. But you know, we could talk about this another day. But that's like the general overview about SSRs. Anyways, peace.